Hi, my name is Nick Ganella, and today I will be doing a player analysis. Before we get started, a little information about myself. I'm a recent graduate from High Point University. I was a student manager and analytics team member for High Point's baseball team the past few seasons, and currently I'm a baseball analyst and trackman operator for the High Point Rockers. In case you don't know who the Rockers are, they're a pro independent ball team that play in the Atlantic League. The player that I'll be looking at today is Colin Moran. Colin is a 6-year MLB veteran who is most known for the 3 years he spent with the Pittsburgh Pirates, and he's currently a corner infielder for the High Point Rockers. We'll be looking at two stretches of games for Colin. One will be from May 24th until June 12th, which has been his best stretch of games thus far, and then we'll be looking at a not-so-good stretch of games from June 13th to June 21st. To start things off, here's a look at Colin's basic stats. He's been a solid hitter for us this year, batting .289 with an on-base percentage of .355, slugging .495, and an OPS of .850. Now we'll take a look at Colin Moran's percentiles. The most glaring thing here that sticks out, obviously, is the chase percentage percentile. Compared to the rest of the players in the Atlantic League, Colin does chase quite a bit. Despite this, his strikeout percentage percentile is still above average, so he doesn't strike out too often, and everything else, such as average exit velo, whiff percentage, walk percentage, and hard hit percentage, are pretty middle of the road. So here's Colin Moran's spray charts against left-handed pitchers and right-handed pitchers for his good stretch from May 24th to June 12th. Colin's a left-handed batter, so you can see he's at his best when he's hitting the ball up the middle and when he pulls the ball to right field, as that's where all of his hard hit balls ended up, and pretty much everything hit the other way wasn't really hit all that hard. So next here is Colin Moran's swing and miss plot. During this stretch, Colin wasn't really whiffing much at all. There's a few fastballs up from both lefties and righties that he whiffed on, and a few sliders in from righties and a few sliders away from lefties, but during this stretch, he did a really good job of putting the bat on the ball and just putting the ball in play. You know, it's like one of the old sayings of baseball is put the ball in play and good things will happen, and that's exactly what Colin did during this stretch of games. So here now is a look at Colin's damage plot during this hot streak. This plot that I created here shows every single ball that he hit in play that had an exit velocity of 90 miles per hour or better. So Colin is, obviously, as you can see here, very good fastball hitter, got a hold of a lot of fastballs, but also there's a few changeups in there that he hit pretty well too, specifically against righties that, were kind of left a bit up in the zone, and Colin was able to take full advantage of those. Now here are Colin's stats against each individual pitch during this time. Colin hit fastballs and changeups really well, and despite chasing almost 50% of the time, he managed to put up good numbers against sliders. Pitchers throw Colin a lot of breaking balls because of how often he chases them out of the zone, but he still managed to do a good job during this stretch of hitting breaking balls. And the reason for that is because he was getting to them and making contact with them out in front of the plate, which allows him to pull the ball. And these two depths of contact plots illustrate that perfectly. So this first chart here shows that he had an average exit velocity of 83.6 miles per hour, and that a lot of the hard hit balls indicated by the red dots are balls that he made contact with out in front of the plate. Those are the balls on the spray chart that I showed you earlier that he hit hard to center and right field. This second chart shows what pitches he hit, and you can see that a lot of fastballs and sliders were hit out in front of the plate. When Colin can make contact out in front of the plate like that, that's when he's most effective. Overall, this is Colin's stats over the stretch. In 51 at-bats, he batted .333, slugged .549 with an 11% K rate, 15% walk rate, and an ISO of .216. Now we'll take a look at the cold streak that lasted from June 13th until June 21st. So to start off again with the spray chart, as you can see, he didn't pull a single ball, and almost everything was hit to either left field or the left side of the infield. Pretty much the exact opposite from the last spray chart that I showed earlier. For the swing and miss plot, you can see he whiffed at a lot of sliders in from righties. There weren't many whiffs from lefties shown here, but that's just mainly because he didn't face a lot of left-handed pitching during this time. And there are also very little fastballs on this chart, and that's because pitchers started mixing in a lot more breaking balls during this stretch when facing Colin. Colin's damage plot is also looking pretty empty here, with just a few fastballs mainly low and away and a hanging slider, plus an elevated changeup that were probably just pitchers missing their spots. As you can see from his stats per pitch, sliders were thrown at him much more often, and he was just whiffing a lot at them and chased half the time. Just overall, all of his numbers just went down. A big reason for this is because if we take a look at these depth of contact charts, you can see that he wasn't making contact with the baseball as far out in front of the plate as he was in the charts shown before. He's letting the ball get deeper, which is resulting in him not being able to pull the ball as much, which is why you're seeing a lot of weaker contact, as also shown with how his average exit velocity dropped from 83.6 miles per hour to 75.8. So Colin's stats during this stretch were in 25 at-bats, he had a 120 batting average, 120 slugging percentage, 10% strikeout rate, 16% walk rate, and an ISO of 0. In conclusion, as I stated earlier, the data shows that Colin Moran is at his best when he's hitting the ball in front of the plate and allows himself to pull the baseball. When he lets the ball travel deeper, that's when you see a lot of weak contact. Thank you so much for listening to this player analysis. If you have any questions for me, please feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn or by email. Thank you.